Hello and welcome back to a new art video. I am Naomi. My channel is Naomi's Ellipses, and today we're going to paint the paradise from Exploding Kitten the show in a more realistic style. But first, what is Exploding Kitten the show?
Versus evil. You're not going to believe this. I may look like a cat, but I'm actually God trapped in this body. I made the most exquisite planet of all time, sunsets, cheetahs, Florida. You know my hits, but humans did get one thing right. This game.
I'd be jumped a lion if I said I wasn't having a good time with you.
You know what, Swamp Rat? I'd be jambalaying too. Yippee-ki-yay, mother! They invented all this natural wonder. Look at this busy little bee. I gave them swords for butts.
As Lord Satan, I command you to open this enchanted robot wall.
Exploding Kitten the show is a loose adaptation of the board game of the same name. I watched this show as soon as it came out, and I loved it. And a little after the show, I went on TikTok and came across those pictures. And right away I wondered, what would the paradise in Exploding Kitten the show look like in this style? Obviously, I am not a 3D artist, so it's gonna look a little bit different, but still more realistic than Exploding Kitten the show. Before we start, please consider subscribing and like and share the video if you enjoyed it. Okay, let's go. I'm gonna be honest and say that I didn't do a lot of research. No, I'm just joking. Most of the research I made was mostly on the technique. So I watched a lot of speed painting. There are so many talented cyberpunk artists out there, and I really want to paint like them at some point. Watching all those speed painting, I realized three things. First, to paint cities, a lot of artists use square brushes, and out of all my Photoshop brushes, I have only one that is squared, so I will have to make a square brush. Second, a lot of them uses photographs, which means that they find pictures and then apply them in their painting. I am not used to that technique and I am really bad at photo manipulation, so stay tuned to see how it goes. And third, it sounds kind of ridiculous that I don't use that more often, but the lasso tool. A lot of artists separate their facade using the lasso, and I should implement that in my work much more often. With all this, I was ready to start sketching. This time I used a very different technique to sketch. The motto for this painting is to let go. To let go of all the fears that I have of perspective, details, and mistakes. So I just let my brush guide, and I sketched 8 different sketches. But if I'm really honest, once I had drawn the 6th sketch, I knew that I was going to draw this one. But to make sure that I wasn't being crazy, I did a poll on Instagram. And turns out that most people thought the same as me. So now it was time to paint the real deal. Before I started painting, remember, I needed to make a square brush. It was my first time making a Photoshop brush, and I quite enjoyed the experience. I also realized that I wanted to get the lighting correctly from the beginning. I have a photo album with all the pictures that I take when I find a lighting that I like in real life. I chose one photo that really represents the lighting I wanted. And now I couldn't further delay the start of the painting. Remember, the motto of this painting is to let go. So I used my square brush and just painted lines. From the overlap of the lines, I started painting more detailed buildings. Okay. I tried to make the photographs work, but I still have a long way to go. Once the background of the painting was a bit more defined, I started working on the foreground. I think those foreground pillars are my favorite thing in the entire painting. I mean, look at that concrete texture. I did that all by myself without using any photograph. To save myself some time, I just duplicated the pillar and rotated around to create the second pillar. Now it was time to add some clouds because let's remember, we are in paradise. Oh my god. Now we are getting to the foreground craziness. I don't know why, but I added so many different things in the foreground, which kind of distract from the focal point of the picture. First, I added traffic lines that lights up. Then, for some reason, I wanted glowy fairies coming out of it. And because there are so many waterfalls in the paradise of Exploding Kitten, the show, why not adding another one right in the foreground? I mean, I like it, but we do lose the focal point. The only thing left I needed to do was to add the kittens. Now that we are fully done, let's have a look at the final piece. But before we go, please consider subscribing. And if you enjoyed the video, share it and like it. Okay, let's go.